Hi everybody, Kirsty, Goddess of Neptune here. I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. Just bringing you some summery vibes here. As you can see, I'm not in my usual place, but I thought I would bring you this astrology forecast just to actually check into what's going on in the astrology. We're now in Virgo season, of course, so happy birthday to all you Virgos out there. This is a season where we're moving into that earth energy. We've already moved into it, and coming from that fire energy of Leo season and now into that earth energy. There could be a grounded feel, but it could be quite a slow grounded feel, because Virgo has that sort of controlling type energy to it, not in a bad way. We like to feel in control, and certainly on this journey of transformation that we're all going through, we're wanting to feel in control of our journey. Certainly, as lots of things are coming up to the surface to be processed and transmuted and healed, we want to feel in control of that. So this energy is supporting us with that. And there's other stuff going on as well. And, I'm not able to share the charts because of where I am at the moment, but I will be back soon and I'll be able to do my forecast as normal. But nonetheless, here's the information for you. So we have got the sun in Virgo now, 1 degree as I'm recording this message, Friday, 25th of August. I selected a random time of 9 a.m. British Standard Time just to check the transit, so apply your own time zones as appropriate, of course. And at the time of check-in, we know the sun's in Virgo, and for the UK's chart, so just to give some context for the transits, that's happening in the second house of worth and values. So again, our healing journey, our transformation journey, that soul essence of the universe, the sun, now in Virgo in the second house, heightening that soul essence of our worth and values. And what do we need to do? What do we need to do in terms of cleaning house? Because Virgo is all about cleaning things up as well, metaphorically speaking, and perhaps literally. If you know Virgos in your life, you'll probably know that to be true. So there is this essence of needing to clean house when it comes to our own spiritual development. Our soul essence is crying out for that, and the energy is supporting us with that as well. Now, I did put a post up on my social media just to say, as the sun was entering Virgo, of course, the alignments we have, and with the UK's chart, to give some context, there was a conjunction with the moon, the UK's natal chart moon. So heightening those emotions of where we do need to clean things up. Where do we need to clean house? Where do we need to sort our act out? Where do we need to sort of get things in order, is what I'm trying to say with that. Now, fast forward a couple of days, of course, from that, and the sun is now 1 degree, but still conjunct the UK's natal chart moon. So there is still some element with the feelings going on there of being heightened within the collective of the UK. But generally, I think the collective globally is feeling this because of the transformation journey. The moon itself is currently in Sagittarius, in the 5th house for the UK. Okay, so this is the house of love. This is about love, unconditional love, love for ourselves, love for others, love for things. It's general in that way of thinking, however it resonates for yourself. And so our emotions are actually coming up in relation to this. And being in Sagittarius, there is an exploratory feel to this. So perhaps we're needing to explore, go a bit deeper with our feelings, with our emotions, to understand why we're feeling a certain way. We're in Virgo season now, we're needing to clean house, so this energy within our emotions of trying to understand, to explore, to discover what we feel about situations, about people, about ourselves, when it comes to that essence of love. And let's not forget, the 5th house is opposite the 11th house of connections with others, and that's where Uranus is transiting through for the UK's chart. So that's all about change. So change has been needed for a while when it comes to connections with other people. And now we've got that opposition energy with the moon there. We need to explore, we need to discover our feelings and our emotions about things in line with the sun being in Virgo in the 2nd house. How is it aligning with our worth and values? And what do we need to change when it comes to connections with others? And it doesn't have to be romantic. So whenever I say love, it doesn't have to be romantic. This is about love we have for other things, for ourselves, and of course, people. And that can be family, friends, it can be colleagues, it can be whoever we have that adoration for, I guess. But there is this need at the moment, because of the transformation journey, for us to focus on ourselves. We're needing to align with our spiritual truth. We're needing to align with our worth and values. So we have to therefore show love to ourselves in order to do that and make the necessary changes. So with the moon being in Sagittarius, of course, as I mentioned, that need to perhaps explore and discover what it is within our feelings and emotions. What do we love? What lights us up? What makes us unhappy? Where does change need to take place? We're cleaning house, remember, Virgo season. And allowing, with the retrograde season that we're in as well, Mercury having just gone retrograde also a couple of days ago. Retrogrades are perfect for introspection. So this is what we're being called to do. This energy is to help us, not to go against us. So it's about going within and understanding, based on the different planets that are retrograde and where they are in our own charts and collectively, in terms of the energy, what do we need to do? What do we need to understand in order to move forward and transform on this healing journey? And I say healing journey because the moon is making a beautiful harmonious trine, positive aspect in astrology, to Chiron, which is in the 10th house for the UK. Chiron is also retrograde, but again, it's that introspection, it's that need to go within and understand what is it we're healing and what do we still need to do on this healing journey, this journey of transformation, of evolution, of ascension. So this beautiful trine between the moon and Chiron is going from the 5th house to the 10th house. So love and inner authority. Our healing journey in relation to our sovereign self, our warrior spirit, we're having to heal this. We've been healing this for a while. Our sovereignty. This links back to the sun being in Virgo in the 2nd house, worth and values, heightening that energy. What are we worth? What are our values? What's in alignment with that? How do we feel when it comes to the love we have for ourselves, with the moon being in the 5th house, in Sagittarius, and what do we need to explore when it comes to our feelings around what we're worthy of and our sovereignty? Do we feel like we are sovereign beings? Because we are, but do we feel it? And what do we need to discover about ourselves? Maybe we've been on a journey of discovery and this has been quite intense for us, but all the while it's been actually developing our inner authority. There's also a trine to Venus. So I say love, and love is the essence of everything. Venus is transiting through the 1st house for the UK's chart. So there is this kind of real emphasis on that divine feminine love energy that we can hold for ourselves, because when we hold that for ourselves and within ourselves, it's then reflected back to us in our external reality. And as corny as it sounds, it's absolutely true. We need to fill our own cup up first before we can focus on others. Empaths, and I myself am one, can find that extremely difficult because it's easy to care for others before caring for ourselves. But this moment now, this period of transformation that we've all been in for a number of months, years in some cases, this is all about us, the self. Remember, Chiron in Aries, okay, regardless of where Chiron is in your own specific chart, but Chiron collectively in Aries is healing the warrior self. Aries is the house of the self. So this is about us healing ourselves. Looking at your own chart and where Chiron is and the other aspects to what's going on with Pluto and Saturn and Uranus is going to give a massive help in terms of your own personal healing journey. And of course, if you want me to check that out for you, reach out to me and I can do you a reading. But let's get back to the report. This is all about our healing, our warrior self, our sovereignty, our self, and being in the 10th house for the UK, our inner authority. What do we stand for? Are we feeling empowered? What do we need to discover about our feelings with regards to empowerment? Moon, 5th house Sagittarius. So there we go. Now, I will say that there is, alongside the, excuse me, I'm just holding my phone, alongside the trines that we have to Venus and Chiron with the moon, which is harmonious, we have got some challenging energy. There is a square to Lilith, and Lilith is in the 3rd house for the UK, also retrograde. Now, Lilith is a great teacher, but does represent the more shadow feminine side. So we've got Venus on the one hand, that divine feminine energy, that almost abundance of love and that unconditional love. And it's not to say there isn't love with Lilith, because as I say, great teacher. So there's love in that as well. There can be love in the harshness. There can be love in truth, raw truth. And Lilith can bring up doubts, fears, anxieties, wounds. And that's helping us learn and discover more about ourselves. So even though there's a square, it's actually helping us. So think of it as working for us with the energy. It may feel challenging because it may be bringing up these kind of fears that we might have about how we're empowering ourselves, how we're moving forward, and fears around what we do need to clean house about, because perhaps we've got into this sort of false sense of security with the way things are and have been for a while. We know we need to change, and there is an element of detachment to that, and that can be scary. So doubts are coming up to the surface. Lilith is kind of making us question, are we worth that? Remember, worth and values. And so that can bring up the challenging energy, but nonetheless, it's all to help us, because if we can accept what's coming up, deal with the challenging energy, process accordingly, and then move forward, then we're becoming more stronger. Our inner authority is getting more resilient, and we're developing and ascending through all of that. So you see how that works. We flip it around and we allow it to work for us. Extremely positive, and important to remember that as well, how we can use the energy to work for us and not consider that it's working against us, even if it feels like that at times. It's challenging energy for a reason, because it needs to make us feel uncomfortable in order for us to do something about it. Virgo season, cleaning house. We've got to get things in order. Spiritual alignment with ourselves. Remember what Saturn is doing in Pisces, these lessons. Remember what Pluto is doing with this deep transformation. Remember what Uranus is doing, calling out for change. This is key at this moment in time, absolutely paramount. Excuse me whilst I just adjust the phone again, because I'm holding it in my one hand. And it's getting a bit tired. So we've got a couple of things coming up imminently, actually later this month. We're already at the end of August, aren't we? And it's just flown by. But we have got Uranus going retrograde on the 28th. So in a few days, Uranus, the planet of change, will go retrograde and join the other planets in retrograde. So again, that introspection on what we do need to change. And for the UK, this is happening in the 11th house. So remember, folks, this is about connections with other people. Uranus is in Taurus, worth and values. So are there connections with other people that no longer align with our values? What needs to change? Uranus. It's opposite the 5th house of love. So yes, there might be some challenging energy if these connections are with people that we do hold love for, but things need to change. Well, we need to power through the change. And this is about change, not necessarily detachment, although that might be applicable for some. Take it how it resonates. But this is about change. And this is about bringing the balance back in accordance with our worth and values. Because if we're continuing in connections that are not serving us, what's that doing to us? What's that doing to our worth and values? Is that making us feel more empowered or less empowered? So this is where we need to remember the energy and what's going on. Now Pluto, of course, planet of deep transformation, and don't we know about it at this moment in time, is currently in Capricorn because of retrograding back into Capricorn. And for the UK, this is happening in the 6th house. 6th house of daily routines and schedules, and of course being of service as well, and does relate to health and well-being. So when we reflect on that in terms of what needs to transform, of course transformation needs to happen for our well-being. That's a given. But where might we be being of service to others that needs to change? Where are we doing things in our daily routines that need to change because it's no longer serving us? This is deep transformation that needs to happen in accordance with everything else that I've mentioned. We're cleaning house, it's Virgo season. So what needs to happen? And Pluto currently being in Saturn's house, and I've said it many times before in previous astrology reports, that Saturn is serving up the lessons in Pisces to get us in line with our spiritual truth. He's in the house of the divine, that's a fact. Pluto is now in Capricorn, Saturn's house. So Pluto is saying, right, Saturn, whilst you're over there doing that, mate, I've got you. I'm in your house. I'm cleaning up. I'm churning up what's not serving people in terms of systems, structures that they're attached to, that's no longer serving them. And this is deep. This is getting to the depths of the soul. Pluto's the god of the underworld. It's going deep to where we might not want to go, and that can challenge our emotions as well. Again, with the moon being in Sagittarius, we're exploring, we're discovering more about the feelings that we have relating to love. When we think of love for ourselves, what are we understanding about that? If we're discovering, actually, I'm worth more than I thought I was, this needs to change in alignment with my worth and values. And now I'm going to utilize the energy to clean house and transform what I need to transform so that I am on the right path and I'm more in alignment with my spiritual truth, which is ultimately what it is. And we know that with Pluto, there's been this square to the source, the source node, the south and north node. So that was a blending of the two words there. But yes, there is a square to the south node and a square to the north node. And recently the nodes changed. So the south node is now in Libra and the north node is now in Aries. So when we think of our north node, our guiding light, the truth, our true north, if you think of it like that, our purpose, that's in Aries. That's where Chiron's been doing all the healing. That's our empowerment. That's our inner authority. That's our sovereignty. And that's guiding us forward. And in the opposite house is where the south node is. The fourth house, this is for the UK of course, just to remind you of that. And that's our foundations. So the south node could be bringing up karmic situations that maybe we felt were a stable foundation and actually aren't. And that's what needs to transform and change. So that can be challenging because it's the realization of that. And that's why the square energy could be there, because it's deep transformation, getting us in line with our purpose, our true north, and also sorting out all the karmic stuff, the karmic debris that we're having to cleanse and process and go through in order to evolve and heal through all of that as well. And there have been a lot of karmic situations. There's also been a lot of past life stuff coming up that needs to be healed and transmuted again. That is stuff coming up from the depths of the soul. This is the Pluto transformation journey. And if you're resonating with this, then it has been pretty hard going. So you've got this, and continue with your journey of evolution is what I would say, because it's a testament to your strength, to your inner authority, to your inner empowerment, to your warrior spirit, and just to keep going with that really. So let's remember that during this Virgo season, it's all about cleaning house. It's getting our house in order. It's getting our affairs in order. It's getting everything aligned with what we want to be doing, making those steps, even if they're small steps, but that's still progress. Remember, we're discovering more and more as the energy kind of unfolds, more and more about what this journey means for us. And also, more and more clarity is coming in through these retrogrades. So this introspection is bringing up a lot of kind of profound clarity, aha moments of, oh, that's why. These realizations, they can be tough. But again, if we approach it with a way of kind of thinking this is all coming up to help serve us, we're understanding what we need to know in order to make the changes necessary. We need to first of all understand why things are coming up. And that's why I mentioned about past life healing, because there could be a lot of that coming up in this lifetime. And we think, whoa, where has that come from? And why is it affecting me now? And when we understand, it could be attributed to a past life or a pattern in this lifetime. We can see the pattern clearly and we recognize and understand, that's what that was teaching me. And now I understand what I need to do to make that change, to make that transformation in order to transmute that energy. But of course, accept it, acknowledge it and process it. That's very important. We can't just say, oh, that's come up, right, I'm going to release it. We need to fully go through that experience to understand. And that also enables us to top up our wisdom bank within our soul. And if we've been here many lifetimes before, this is just topping up that ever growing wisdom bank. The other thing with that, I will say that certainly with a lot of kind of realization moments, we are remembering stuff from past lives as well. Again, I'm going off on a tangent here. If this is resonating for you, you'll understand what I'm meaning. But we're getting a lot of synchronicities coming up relating to past life situations, and understanding why they're coming up, and it's bringing forth the wisdom that's been within us for many lifetimes before, that we can now use in this lifetime to serve ourselves and to serve other people. Again, it's all part of this Pluto journey, and for the UK collective, certainly, with Pluto being in the 6th house, you know, this is why. So it's empowering us to be of service to ourselves and to others, but understanding where things need to change and transform when it comes to our daily routines. Let's mix up the structures, let's get it in alignment with ourselves, let's go more with the flow and not be so regimented with things. There is a time for that, of course, but there's also a time to respond to our intuition. And we need to evolve, we need to change, we need to go with the flow, we need to understand what it is, and we need to allow our head and heart to work in harmony with one another, not against one another. It needs to come from the feelings first, and of course we need to then apply the logic to move forward in this journey of transformation. And as I alluded to before, every step is a step forward. Don't ever think it's a step back, even if you're being kind of directed back to something to focus on as part of the introspection. You know, you're having to go back to understand what things are. That's not a step back, it's a reflection back. But then we're moving forward because we're healing that, we're understanding it. So we're naturally evolving forward at the same time. Hope that makes sense. So yes, let's remember this Virgo season, it's all about cleaning house. It's getting things in order. It's using the earth energy to ground us in, to understand truly what the Hermit is all about. For those of you that know tarot, that introspection with the Hermit holding the lantern, lighting the path forward. We can light our own path forward, of course, but we need to understand everything that's going on within before we can do that, to receive that clarity from within. Okay, so sending you all the best. We have got Uranus retrograde coming up in a couple of days, as I mentioned, and then we have a super full moon in Pisces, and that's happening 30th or 31st wherever you are in the world, so I'll do another report for that. Of course, August we've had 2 full moons bookending the month, so it's been quite heavy, and we've got these retrogrades going on. So, you know, bear with the energy, stick with it, you've got this, and I'm sending you love and blessings. Take care, everybody.